This segment is brought to you by JigMasters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to JigMasters.com and use promo code PNF20 and save 20% off your next jig order today.
Let's go!
This is the Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment on the Paddle & Fin Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols. So come along for the saltwater shenanigans. All right, hey everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Chasing the Tide Saltwater segment here on the Paddle & Fin Podcast Network. I'm your host, Dustin Nichols, and tonight we have none other than the one and only Murphinator. We got Matt Murphy, y'all, boy from San Antonio, by way of Rockport now. He's living down in Rockport, Texas. What's up, man? Good to have you on the show, man.
Man, first time caller, long time listener. Now, Dustin, I appreciate you having me on, man. I listen to the show, watch the show. You and I fish the same water, so it's good to finally make the cut, man. I appreciate you having me.
I know, man. Y'all, man. I'm just gonna put that out there for all the listeners out here. This man right here and his tournament partner, David Halbadier. Man, they put a hurting on some redfish tournaments last year, man. So that's why I was like, want to get on this show. We'll talk a little bit about that. Talk a little about the tournament scene and how that's affected with this COVID-19 pandemic, and just get a little redfish action tips and a little bit about yourself. So yeah, let's start it out that way. I like to start it out, talk about what got the fishing bug going in you, and where all that began.
And it all starts to become a blur at a time. You're looking back, and if I had to pick a starting point, it'd probably be about 15 years ago. And I think, like everybody, you just wanted to venture off the bank, right? Which turns into an obsession, into a passion, and then you start exploring boats and other kayaks and regular boats and whatever the case may be. But yeah. I found more enjoyment in being closer to the water in a kayak. So, it started off with the cheapest kayak I can find, which was come close now, a Pelican Castaway 112, right?
Yeah. Hey, I had that Perception Caster 12.5.
No.
And it was yellow, and I painted the ink black. I did like a black fade on the front and the back. It was called the Bruised Banana.
Oh man! And you named it. Oh, that's what makes it great.
SS Bruised Banana, yo.
Oh goodness!
Hey, I put a hurt on some fish in that thing, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And people talk about, you have to have this, you have to just get a kayak, explore, find it, and then go from there. But that obsession 15 years ago just blossomed into, I got to buy a new Hobie every year now, it seems like, right? Keeping up with the Joneses or whatever you want to call it. But if another competitor has it, I need it.
Yeah.
Because I'm a tournament guy. So, I think it's just going to continue to grow, and I'm excited to ride the wave.
Yeah.
Along with it, man.
Oh, I know, man. It's blown up, man. It's a good thing. We got a good community here in Texas, and we all know each other and all fish together a lot. Got a good little deal going, man. And it's good to see the growth over the past, especially like 4 or 5 years. I know it was popular further back. I want to say I started. It's been 7 or 8 years ago and all I did was mainly saltwater fish too. I just jumped back into the bass game probably beginning of 2018. I mean, I had bank fish for bass, but it was like me. I was like, damn, for real, there's bass tournaments in too. Oh, sweet. Because the redfish tournaments, you're used to dragging them with you and bringing them to a live weigh in. You got to have somewhere to keep them alive in your vehicle on the way, trying to drive 2 or 3 hours back to a weigh in and everything. So, all this CPR stuff come around, and it's pretty cool to be able to, fish all this stuff, especially now with this pandemic going on. You're not supposed to be gathered in large groups. So there's still tournaments going on. There's bracket tournaments going on. Speaking of that, PNF, we had that starting out, and then there's just a lot of cool things in the industry, and kayak, like you said, you're close to the water, so it just makes that experience so much better.
Oh yeah, and the first time you hook up to a big redfish, and just something comes over you where you start yelling, "On Dasher! On Dancer!"
Yep.
Because you're going for a sleigh ride. Oh man, you can't get that in a boat. I'll tell you that.
No.
Greg,
That's
you
the
cannot
Texas sleigh ride, baby. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, you can't mess with that. Can't mess with that, man. So, well, we started out talking about kayak fishing, but once just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, like a personal side. Give us a little bit of that too. Matt Murphy.
How deep did we get here? I'm drinking just sweet tea today. So, I think for one, I'm first and foremost, family comes first for me, right? If there's a need, fishing, I try to make fishing fun or keep fishing fun, right? That's my hobby, that's my side gig, but that's what most of the people I like being around like. So you want to be a good runner, hang out with runners. You want to be a good skateboarder, hang out with good skateboarders.
Yes, sir.
Right? You want to be a good kayak fisherman, hang around with kayak fishermen. So
exactly. Yep.
But aside from that, I work for United Healthcare, right? Like you said, this pandemic that's going on, there's a lot of people in need right now. A lot of people are struggling, and what I can do in my 40, 50 hours a week at United Healthcare to help somebody live a healthier life, I'm gonna try to do that. But aside from that, my passion, if I'm answering emails, I'm back in my head, I'm kind of thinking about fishing,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I was going to say, you said, 15 years ago when you started fishing. I was like, man, what was you in 5th grade about 15 years ago? No, baby facts.
I knew we had this going on today, so I said, well, let me let a little grow out, so I don't seem too much. 15 years ago, it put me right about 20 is when I started the kayak game.
Yeah.
But fishing has been an ongoing thing from, man, let's get one of those red and white bobbers. Let's get some night crawlers. Let's stick it out there and see how many panfish we can catch, right?
Oh, yeah. That's how it all started for me.
Yeah. And I still have fun doing that, too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'll bet you $10, $15 that I can catch a bigger panfish than you. It's all it all gets things going. It doesn't matter how old you get.
Hey, them things are pretty tasty too. Just scale them, gut them, head them, fry them up. You eat the crispy fins and everything, dude.
Oh man, the culinary aspect of you is coming. I see the smile.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, so panfish. Those little we've had those little mangrove snappers kind of invade our waters. They're non-indigenous. They kind of moved up as the warmer winters and milder winters, with actually some snook and stuff too sometimes. Those are great table fare.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, you pick them up every now and then in the boat harbors around bulkheads and pylons and stuff. Yeah.
They have those in Rockport waters too, and if I take Dylan out, which is my son, they're colorful, colorful little fish too, and
cool little fish.
He enjoys seeing them flop around before they hit some cold ice.
Yeah. So your first love though is or the fish most closest to your heart right now is the old sexy red drum, redfish, channel bass, red bass, whatever you want to call them, old spot tail bass, as my grandpa would, and my papa would call them. Papa Nichols called them that back in the day. In coastal Georgia, that's where I got my chops earned in the saltwater fishing as a kid. Was over there in coastal Georgia, southeast Georgia. So that's your species of choice probably right now, huh?
And so I wouldn't say right now. If I had any fish that I needed to chase inshore, right?
Yeah, inshore, yeah.
It would be chasing redfish. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because I'm also a huge kayak duck hunter, right? And our waters, it doesn't get too cold here. So, the same places that I'm duck hunting, right? If that's my purpose going out there, I still see redfish, and I'm thinking,
Yes.
Do I swing open and cast my line, or do I hold them and swing,
Yeah.
holding the shotgun? So they just intrigue me to where I can watch them when I'm not fishing for them, to where I just have to catch those. I like being shallow. I like being in the murky water. I like when you stick your paddle, because you can't use my fins or my drive.
Right.
Whatever you
push around on them flats. Yep.
Yeah, that you get a little bit of that marsh cologne that comes up every time you do a paddle stroke.
Oh yeah. Smell like sulfur.
Oh.
Little something.
But if this wasn't a family show, I'd use other choice words of what it smells like.
Yes.
Poo.
Yes. Or as people know, my nickname, doo-doo.
Yeah, there you go. But
yeah. You can't get no closer than when the reds are. I mean, their eyeballs are out of the water, backs out of the water, and they're chasing shrimp everywhere. And you'll skip that little freaking DOA over at them, and click, boom, and bust them. But like you said, you like to waterfowl, chase waterfowl out in the marsh, in the back bays, out of the kayak, which is really, really cool. You got your kayak rigged up with like a blind with brush and palm fronds and stuff, something like that. You kind of rig it all up and everything. Is that what it is?
It's gradually turned into where if you just sit out there and you stay still,
they're
gonna come in, right?
They're gonna come in,
yeah. Just don't move.
Yeah.
And they're gonna land if they're fixated on your decoys. And I know we're getting off topic because I can talk about this, but for all intents,
it'd be cool. It'd be cool for the listeners to hear about this too, because this is another side of things that's gotten popular over the years too, is accessing hunting through a kayak, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm all for it. I'm down.
Let's go off script then, right? Let me unbutton this other button in my shirt. we're talking now. But the cool thing about kayak hunting, the same places you're looking for redfish, one, you get to explore new territory, right? But any color kayak can be easily outfitted with an ambush blind, and I believe that's made by Attack, I think, or they just got bought out by someone, and I'm a little off on the brand who makes it, but any blind they can buy and it'll fit their kayak. But you can go just as far as looking around, getting a machete or knife and covering up with some of the foliage there, right? Don't let it stop you having fun.
Yeah, burlap sack, cut some notches, slits in it, and stuff some of the brush around your kayak in there. It's covered up. You're camoed out yourself. You got a good spread put out, and you just lay down. Let them start coming to you. Call them in.
Right.
Call them in, buddy.
Zip ties are your friend. Zip ties are your friend if you're using burlap.
Yes, they are. And then that's the cool thing about Texas is we have great migratory patterns with the ducks. This last year was insane. We had a lot of birds come in, and it's cool because normally mid morning they usually stop flying. So you're like, okay, I got my rods with me too. Let's pack up and let's hit some redfish on the way home. So that's blast and cast. That's what it's called. And it's self-explanatory. Blast some ducks and cast some redfish.
That's right,
man. Can't get no better than that, man. Woo.
You can't. And the cool thing about it, you also get to see how these redfish act in their natural environment when an apex predator like yourself or me isn't trying to get them, right? So you get to see what they're doing, see how they react to certain things, see how they move when the water gets crystal clear because it's wintertime water. And you learn so much by just watching.
Oh yeah, you're waiting for them ducks to come in, but you hear that toilet flush, and redfish is burrowing up somewhere trying to eat something, and you're like trying to figure out what they're doing. And like you said, that is a cool time of year to see some of their habits and attitude and how that clear water affects them, because it's pretty neat. So yeah, from there,
let's change the name of the
duck hunting. It's all good. So there, you know, that's cool because you know, duck hunting is close to me too. I love to do that. But back on track. Tackle box confessional. So, say you would be out there chasing some redfish. Oh, you actually fished today anyway. So yeah. Give us some of your favorite baits you were throwing. You don't have to get color dependent, but you know, just give us a couple of teaser items there.
So I went before I came in the garage, and I went to my kayak trailer and pulled actually what I was using today, right? And we caught David and I would say maybe 20, 25 redfish a piece. A lot of that is finding where they're at, right? And these weren't monsters. These were something that any normal guy can go out if he finds the fish. He wants to take home, put some slappy old mama on it and put them in the grease, right?
Yeah.
And I like to use, I take 3 rods with me, at least this time of year. Normally, once the summer kicks on in full swing, I'll go 4. But since we're talking about spring fishing.
Yes, sir.
Heat-in Super Spook, the 5-inch.
Yeah.
It's been producing today. It's been producing Friday. It's been producing Thursday. It was producing Monday when I went out. And I don't think the color really isn't going to be the biggest factor right now. So find a color or your favorite color at that or something you have. But any type of top water that you can work it slow, at least in the Rockport area, has been really, really, really good, Dustin.
Yeah, they liked it a little slower the past few days. And last week when I fished, they were hitting it on the paws a lot. And, you know, we did have a couple cool downs here recently. I had a couple cooler nights. And I've been doing the same thing. Super Spook and then a 1 knocker to get a little deeper tone sometimes. Like you said, color don't really matter if it's, you know, just that mullet profile is that's what those bigger redfish that are, you know, a lot of the smaller slot size fish have been bunched like paired 5 or 6 fish, and all the big fish, the 29-inch plus, have all been singles. Where in my area, have been a little different.
So we're seeing the same thing here.
Old Spook. Yeah, that's one of my favorite lures. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the other 2 that I'm actually using, and again, I'm not affiliated with this company, but it's just something that's been working for me.
Yes, sir.
AM Lures. And let me see if I get the names of these. And I don't think these don't come with names on them, but I'll put them in close so you guys can see it.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, it's garlic scented. And does the garlic help? I don't know. Right? You put it in front of a redfish face, it's going to eat it, whether it smells like it or not. Yeah. But I've been using a Owner swim bait hook in 3/16 ounce. So I kind of bumped it up a little bit because the wind's been picking up heavier throughout the day.
Yes.
From 1/8 to 3/16. And I've been throwing this, working it depending on how they want it, right? If I can pinpoint that fish, I'm going to throw it in front of its face, put it in there and stop it. Yeah. And they've been getting it, or if I'm working it slow.
Well, the cool thing about that lure is it's like a new school curly tail.
Yeah.
It's got a great action if you're just swimming it, but also when you kill it, it drops down and that tail's still moving. When it hits the bottom, it still kind of wiggles a little bit. So that's what they're probably keying in on that because that's basically what it is, a new school curly tail. Curly tail grub. Yeah.
I look at it as a grub. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, this is bigger than a gulp swimming mullet, right? Yes. So it fits your hook basically, but it doesn't fall apart with a one-hitter quitter.
No, it don't. No.
And then my third rod that I've been carrying, the same AM lures. It's kind of I don't know if you can see this color. Oh, this is called Blood Diamond.
The Blood Diamond, yeah.
Toxic root beer.
I was going to say toxic root beer, yes.
And then Blood Diamond.
Chicken Shark's a good color too.
I like the names, man.
Chicken Shark. Yeah, they got some pretty cool names. Them guys are doing a good thing.
Let me get some of that chicken shark, baby. Oh, yeah.
That sounds real appetizing.
I know, right? Uh-oh. You got guests. Hey.
Hi, Cora. Cora peeked in on me. Daughter, she likes to pop her head in every now and then on these. So
quarantine life.
Yeah, quarantine life. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah,
but
man.
I've been using this under a popping cork. So instead of putting like a gulp cement mullet, I've been throwing this one on the bottom. I've been using this on a popping cork with the water I've been fishing is, I don't know, it's a little deeper than normal. So I'm going like 18 to 20 inches, even if I'm fishing 1 foot of water. Because of that curly tail, those pop action, once they key in that little curly tail, it gets them, even though it's, the leader's longer than the water I'm fishing in. So
yeah, we've had some little spring bull tides going on. That has our tide have been running a little bit higher than normal, and that's what I've been enjoying, because as far as the trout go, they pushed in over these shell beds and stuff, and they're spawning. Even we had that last full moon weekend before last, but all the bigger fish I'm catching, all the bigger trout I'm catching right now are full of roe still. There's still some fish. I saw a bunch flashing yesterday, and you kind of back off of them and pitch that top water in, and they'd come up and just smacking at it, and every now and then you'd get one to just flip over it, so it was pretty cool. So 3 rods this time of year.
3 rods.
Yeah, top water plastic and a popping cork with a plastic.
Yeah, my 4th rod, if I don't get invited back for a summer show, would be 4th rods. I'm throwing a gold or silver spoon.
Gold spoon.
Just as a search bait.
And sometimes as a search bait, as long as there's good grass lines and structure, I'll throw a hunchback.
Oh.
Wake bait.
Yeah. A cheater bait, you mean? You're throwing a cheater.
But you can cover a lot of water with that. But also another one is a chatterbait.
Okay. Like your bass chatterbait that you're using.
Yes, I take the skirt off and put a big bone glowed chartreuse tail swim bait on it, and it's got a gold blade and a chartreuse head. Just the cheap Z-Man ones, and just put the swim bait straight on there without the skirt. And something about that vibration, just that wiggle, and they eat it pretty good, especially on grass lines and like marsh line and indentions, when you can just pitch it up in there, just like bass fishing. So you can burn a lot of water. It's like a search bait. You can work it fast, and they'll you can be burning it and they'll slam it. So that's another little transition bait from the bass side, along with some popping frogs. They like to eat those in the summertime.
Let me ask you then, how there's a distinct difference between, this is a saltwater bait and this is a freshwater bait, right? I have this conversation often that, what are your thoughts on that? Is there really a difference? Does a fluke with a paddle tail anything different than a swim bait lure?
No, I like throwing the big flukes too, weightless over the grass, the sand holes. I like throwing that. I like I'll actually throw a regular spinner bait.
Yeah.
With a black spinner bait with gold blades, and the redfish will crush that thing.
Oh man!
So you got to think about it. Redfish magic. That's a jumbo beetle spin basically, and they kill those things. Actually, man, I don't even have them with me. I made some inline spinners. It's a straight. I got the wire ordered. It's a .041 size wire, and it's pre-twisted with a loop on the front. And I put 3 little hollow brass beads. Then I put a little holder and a number 3 Colorado blade in gold, and then 3 more beads, and then I twist lock a split ring on there. Then I put a 1/8 ounce screw lock jig head, and then I rig a soft plastic to that, so it's an inline spinner. And I've been catching redfish on that pretty good too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, don't give all your secrets away on this podcast.
No, it's all good. You got to make them though, so you got to take time to put in some work. But also they work good making little inline buzz baits too, and you put a little zoom horny toad on there. Works pretty good.
Well,
Yeah. Come up and
all
eat
this
those.
knowledge, I hope you win your entire bracket that's coming up. And all your colleagues, that you're going to be fishing against when they come back and listen to this, you're
Yeah.
going up somebody that's got both saltwater and freshwater experience and can transition those two. They better look out, man. Where's the side bets at? Where's the side bets at? Let me
Yeah,
get on some.
where's the side bets? I know it's gonna be fun. That's the whole thing is that you got 4 hours, and we're gonna be live streaming and all that, so that's gonna be really cool. I'm excited to look for that. I'm going to pre-fish some lakes tomorrow and Tuesday to go kind of scope out my areas and see what's gonna happen. So, it's gonna be a good thing. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So
I'm rooting for you.
I appreciate it. So that Tackle Box Confessional, you got your 3 rods, you got your stuff rigged up. So how closely, for all the listeners out there, y'all key in on this too. How closely are you looking at the solunar periods and the tides to make your decision on where you're going to fish?
Oh man, I get asked that question on my video podcast that I do all the time.
Yeah.
And people hate me when I say that I don't pay any mind to what a little app on my phone says if I can have the ability to go out there and catch fish, right? Yeah. And let me tell you why. If you rely solely on your app or the moon phase that says today's a good fishing day or tomorrow's a good fishing day, or you've got your peak fishing time from 11:47 to whatever time, right? I don't think you break yourself into your own head and tell yourself that anytime outside of that peak fishing time, you're not going to have a good enough chance to catch fish, right? Or it's not going to be on fire.
Yeah.
So I don't pay any attention to that. If it's high tide, I'm searching the marsh deeper, right? I'm finding different flues. If it's low tide, they're all congregated into one place, and that's my favorite time to fish when they don't have any territory to run.
Especially on the redfish side of things, it pulls them together a little more, pulls them all in. Like you said about the solunar tables, sunrise, sunset, I got no problem doing that. You get a good full moon overhead, yes, that's good. I'm not paying attention to the times either. I like to look at the whole situation and wind-driven water, a little bit of tidal movement and stuff like that kind of plays into effect too. But like you said, it might not be that major period, but in the middle of the day, you could be chunking a big old topwater across the flat and you could catch a giant trout just the same.
Oh man.
There's no rhyme or reason sometimes. Sometimes it just happens because, I get hungry all the time. I don't depend on that saloon table to tell me when I need to eat. When I need a Pop-Tart, I'm going to eat a Pop-Tart. Come on. Brown sugar cinnamon. Come on.
Oh, that's right. Good. Wait. Go look outside real quick and see what the moon's doing.
Yeah. I can't eat yet. No. Them fish ain't doing that either. Them fish are opportunistic feeders. They're opportunistic. Just like me. I walk by that pantry and it's like, man, that sure is close. I could sure grab one of them little Debbie's out of there. Boom, I'm going to get that oatmeal pie. Come on. Right. And that's how them fish are. Them fish are like, oh, man, them mullet are getting a little too close for comfort over here. I think I'm going to have to reach out and grab one. That's exactly what they do right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Nobody's stopping you from a toaster strudel. You get a toaster strudel.
No. Blueberry, cherry, whatever. That's what they like. Oh, look at that spook. Look at that spook junior. Oh, that's that snakehead. Oh, look at that redfish magic going by. I think I'm going to eat that. Oh, look at that gulp on that popper cork. Man, what's that noise? Oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to get that. Yeah, it ain't nothing about no moon telling them to do that.
Yeah, but, if some people need that extra boost or confidence that the app tells them they can have, then if it makes all the difference in the world for them, by all means. I'm not one to tell you it's wrong. I'm just telling you what I do. I don't pay any mind to that. If I've got an opportunity to get on the water, I'm going to get on the water.
Exactly. And that's how I am. I'll work a graveyard all night and have my kayak with me at work. And I'll get on the water in the morning right after work most of the time. If I can get on the water, if it's right, one thing I do look at for sure is like wind conditions. I will do some forecasting for the wind and kind of plan my kayaking. You know, I mean, the pedal drive helps out a ton. But if you're paddling, if you're a paddler, like sometimes I am, you know, I like to take that into perspective of what the wind's going to do and kind of figure out, you know, a float plan, so you say, and make sure I have all my stuff together and situated, because that's the key thing being on a kayak. You need to be organized. You got such a small space in your area. You need to know where everything's at. Your pliers, your snips, your stringer, everything needs to be within reach, because you don't want to have to get up and jump all over that kayak on the middle of the water. That's when accidents happen. And accidents can happen on the water. You know, we have had quite a few close calls lately with you know, emergency services have to come out and rescue kayakers because they don't pay attention, or they think they can jump in a 10-foot sun dolphin that doesn't track well and doesn't handle wind and go paddle across this bay and never kayak fish before, and they have no light, they have no PFD onto the vessel whatsoever, and they just think they can go out there and start fishing, which is not. You got to be educated on this. There needs to be more in-depth. Here, I'm going off on a tangent right now, but oh well. But yeah, I think there needs to be a little more awareness of all this going on, being that it is growing at a fast pace as it is, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't think, just for a disclaimer, I don't think it's the sun dolphin's fault.
But yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't either. I don't call that out, but that's basically, you know, I had 4 or 5 guys launching at the same spot. You know, I was already getting on the water. I put my light on, put my marker, you know, turn my LED on my little flag and everything, have my PFD on and everything. And these guys were just unloading these kayaks off this trailer and they were getting in. I was like, man, where's y'all got lights? Like, no, man. I said, y'all got life jackets, PFDs? No, we're supposed to have those? Like, yeah. I said, you don't have to wear it, but it has to be on the vessel per Texas Parks and Wildlife. Man, that's like a $500 ticket. And it was still like 45 minutes before the sun was coming up. And they just jumped all up in there and went. And I said, man, there's boats coming in out here all the time. I said, y'all really need to be careful. Y'all need to think about this. And, you know, and then that's the same guys that, you know, 3 hours later, I was busting some trout up and they dragged their kayaks across the reef to get right to where I was throwing. You know, some same people like that. It's like, oh my Lord, for real? Did y'all just really do that? I was like, okay, cool.
Oh man, they just need a
fan. They just shut the bike down completely, and it's like, whatever, y'all just fix that real good. So it's always fun. You know, I love to try to help people out. You do a lot of that too. Listeners out there, there's a kayak page, a Facebook page called Kayak Fishing Texas. And, you know, I think it's got about 8,500, 9,000 members. Yeah. And Matt goes above and beyond on there and got this thing going called Tackle Talk Tuesday. And it has some good stuff going on there. So yeah, that's why I was like, man, I need to get old Murphinator on the show, on the podcast, and get him on here, get him, drill him a little bit. And but yeah, man, that's a good thing. That's been taking off pretty good. You know, I know that you just moved down to Rockport from San Antonio, get back closer to the coast again. So you know, with this pandemic, you've been busier and stuff. So that's kind of been put on the, maybe not doing it every week now. You're just going to kind of plan it out.
We've moved it, at least while all this craziness is going on. It was a once a week show, kind of a garage shop talk feel, you know, come in here, have a cold brew, and we'll talk fishing, which happened every Tuesday. And we've kind of backed off because work has been busy for me, where we're going to be doing it the first Tuesday of the month. But we still want people to chime in, listen, grab a cold beer and interact in the show, man. We sent out some great stuff. Yeah. Everybody shares knowledge, and I couldn't do it without the folks that are part of that Facebook group, Kayak Fishing Texas. So
yeah, it's taking off pretty well, man. It's a good job on there. You know, y'all get a good little following, got some good info on there, and turn it out pretty good, yo. Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Pretty good. I know. I remember. I'm thinking back to where I was, where we originally met, and I think it was through the SAKF, TK, Texas Kayak Fishing, TKFSA events. And you was like, man, I think I remember something about, man, I remember I wanted to meet that other guy in that Jackson.
Oh yeah, no, we both showed up in Jackson. I was running a CUDA at the time, and you had
that's what I had.
The
I had a CUDA also. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I said, man, I got to meet this Jackson guy. And then next time I saw you, were walking around Roy's shirtless, and I'm like, God, that's my kind of people right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That old crazy dude running around without my shirt. Yeah, that was a good day.
Yeah, you must have had a couple little Debbies in you on that time.
I did. I had a couple little Debbies. I was on Little Debbie overload right there. I got to go to Little Debbie's Anonymous, man. I don't know what's going on with all that. Oh, Lord. Good grief, man. Woo. Swiss cake rolls, man. Put them in the freezer, then put them in your Bluebell homemade vanilla. That's what you got. That sounds good. I think that's why my daughter came in, because she got me some Panda Express. I got some orange chicken up in there. Kind of hungry.
You have like a culinary degree, and you're talking about Panda Express.
I didn't feel like cooking tonight, man. I got fish too, and I was like, man, I should make some fish tacos or some pecan crusted trout over some smoked Gouda cheese grits with some tasso and crab relish and some.
We're gonna lose the entire audience at this point.
I know. They're like, what's he talking about food? I really want to talk some food, man. Yeah, it's all good. Back to the fact of the duck hunt and the blasting cast is that you come back, you get all cleaned up, you clean all them birds, slap them fillets off that redfish, leave them on the half shell, throw them things on the pit, slap some bacon and some cream cheese in them freaking ducks and wrap them up with that breast and bacon with a jalapeno in there, put them on that grill. Woo.
Man, you're talking my language.
I love these things. I like to stuff them with take the whole breast and you cut a pocket in it, and then you stuff that pocket with boudin.
All right.
And then you wrap the breast in bacon, season it, and then smoke that.
It's just anything wrapped in bacon, man.
That's on point. Or actually, you make boudin with the duck. You put it in a meat grinder and make it's pretty good too. But you make sure you got to bleed them. You got to put them on the ice and drain the liquid off of them, drain the melted ice, and then put more ice. I'll usually ice mine for like 12 hours.
Yeah. See, I'm more of keel, breast,
chicken fry.
People say things like that taste gamey, right? But
it's not bad.
No, to me, it's not gamey. This is what duck tastes like, right?
Yeah.
Their palate just hasn't explored something more than chicken to say that this tastes gamey, right? It's not. Right. It doesn't taste like chicken, so.
No, it tastes good to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Jalapeno, cream cheese, and some bacon wrapped up, man. Yep. I'm making duck poppers for days.
Yep. Soak them in in buttermilk with sriracha and your favorite Cajun seasoning. Soak them in that for about 3 hours, then pull them out, bread them with some seasoned flour, chicken fry them. Then you take your pan drippings, you add some bacon in there, and some tasso and jalapenos and onions, and you make a gravy. And put that over mashed potatoes, and you're in heaven, buddy. That's what I'm talking about right there. little culinary tips with Chasing the Tide.
That's right, chasing the tide, culinary tips.
Oh Lord, we're getting off on it tonight. I knew this was gonna be a good one having Matt on. I just knew it. I knew it was going to flow, and I knew it was going to go good because this man right here. He's a solid guy, man. He definitely talked the talk and walked the walk and shoot some ducks out of the sky. He had some really cool GoPro footage from this winter, so it was really cool. Check him out on Matt Murphy Outdoors on Facebook.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, you get to check him out. You fish for you're on the Hobie fishing team for and sponsored by ACK, Austin Canoe and Kayak. You got anybody else you want to do a shout out with? We can roll on with that right now. Talk a little bit about some of the companies you represent.
So I'm a small fish, Dustin. I'm a small loyal fish, and ACK is my outfitter, right? Yeah. I'm happy to be with Hobie. I'm a Hobie kayak fisherman. That's all I use now. That since our first meet.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't have anybody else. I fish because I like to fish. I fish for fun, and I fish because I want to help other people re-experience, what I'm doing. So
yeah,
get out there, have a good time. It doesn't matter who you represent, right?
Yeah, right.
Let's keep everybody in line. It's just fishing, right? Let's have fun. Let's have fun.
Have fun with it. That's it. Right. Yep. Just buy some stock in the saltwater assassin dye dappers.
Saltwater assassin, if you're listening, my address is 1919.
No doubt. I love the bigger profile of those. I do. I love those. They got a good wobble on them, So I have been known to catch some bass on those. Yeah, there's a couple colors they like to eat. Yeah. They like to eat them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely like those on a weedless screw lock hook, belly weighted hook. Definitely in the grass. Man,
they will continue, I think, in at least our water, and I'm probably about 35 miles down from you.
Yeah.
But the amount of water that they push, like you said, you like the wobble. You know what I mean? The amount of water that they push in a calm back marsh, you'll see those things running across like a deer feeder going off.
Yep.
Yeah, man, they just slam them.
And that's when you see that mullet swimming across that water, that's about what it looks like too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, them things are money. Them things are money. I know. I'm part of the Kate Lures Pro staff, but I do throw other stuff. I do. I can't limit myself to just one. I support him tremendously. But man, I like to try everything out. I just like to see what the fish will do. I like to experiment with all the baits and see how fish react to different ones. That's just me trying to figure out the fish,
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to throw those gamblers. They get that flapping tail that's a little different. So it like swings all over the place sometimes. And then gambler makes a hook. It's like a 5 and 6 salt screw lock, and it's called the Does It, DUZIT. And it's got a willow blade on a swivel off of the hook. So you get that flash of that gold with that wobble, and things are pretty deadly too. They're pretty deadly.
Are you a fan of the gold or silver little willow blade?
I like the gold.
Okay.
I like the gold for the redfish. I like gold spoons for the redfish. Just a regular old Bagley's weedless spoon.
Yeah.
There's another company out there, Nacho Daddy. He does like that resin poured that has like a little rattle chamber, and they flutter. They got a little different flutter. I like those a lot. But man, you can't knock how many fish have been caught on spoons all these years just from the simple gold Johnson weedless spoon. Yeah.
You can't don't fix something that's not broken. It's looked the exact same way for all these years because it produces.
Yeah.
And it's easy to cast it out. Reel it.
Reel it in.
Wait. Oh, you didn't catch a fish?
Oh.
Cast it out. And then reel it in.
Cast it out again. Oh, that's right, and everything.
Yeah.
Trout will hit it. Flounder will hit it. Redfish will hit it. Ladyfish will hit it. Pretty much anything will hit a spoon.
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah. It looks like a fleeing bait fish.
Now, you talked about Kaden baits, and I think a couple of months ago, did you write an article in Saltwater Angler Magazine about that?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about them. Yeah, I try to talk about them. Like that little inline spinner. I've been pairing those with that bone. Tupelo honey is like a bone and gold glitter colored, and it's been pairing well with that gold blade. And I've caught some fish on that paired together with that inline spinner. And they do have one. It's called a blazing shad. Then they have the Magnum, which is a little longer. They have some new colors. They had a silver and black. It was a black back with a silver glitter belly with a chartreuse tail, and that's been working pretty well. It's a little different color. And then there's a mahi color. It's like a purple color with a lime truce belly with a chartreuse tail. It was just doing pretty good too over here. So
I think last year at a Rudy's Redfish event in Matagorda, you gave me a Cadence sampler pack.
Yeah, I gave you some of those.
In a Frozen themed, the movie Frozen themed Ziploc bag.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did. I remember that now.
That's not official packaging though, is it?
No. That's not the official licensed packaging of Kaden. It's not the Frozen the snack bag. Yeah. There might have been some leftover Cheez-Its in there too. A little extra flavor on them things. Oh man, what a blast. What a blast, man. Oh freaking my abs. I'm getting an ab workout from laughing tonight, man. That's what it's good when you laugh like this. This is what it's all about, man. This is what it's all about, brother. Right here.
It's
talking fish and laughing. That's what it is. That's what it is. Well, dude, man, I appreciate you coming on here tonight, man. Big time, dude. I know we tried to work it out a few times, and we're both busy. I work shift work most of the time. Right now they got me on that crazy. I'm 7 on and 7 off on days. 7 days, then 7 off, then 7 days and 7 off. That's what I'm on right now until we get through this crazy mess that's going on in this world. Everybody hang tough, do what you got to do. Social distance on the water. That's the best place for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can combat launching a kayak, no problem. And that's what I talk about on my upcoming article coming out next week in Saltwater Angler. Hit on that a little bit, little combat launch, talk about what's going on in the area. Fishing's been on fire, man. It's been good. This time of year I love the fall, but I also love the spring. I
think next edition's article, I talk about how to social distance and sneak out to go fishing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, I'm riding around with my essential worker paper in my front seat. Especially when I drive 4.5 hours Tuesday to go fish a lake, I'm gonna go check out. So be like, hey, where you going with that kayak at 2:00 in the morning?
Oh goodness.
I'm gone. Hey, the state parks are open. Come on. I have my mask on. I have my buff. Just my buff. That counts. It'll be covering my face. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
Dude, man. Well, dude, I appreciate it a ton for you coming on tonight, man. Thanks a lot, dude. And, we're going to have to hit the water soon. Now you're closer, about 35, 40 minutes away. And we're going to have to meet in the middle or come over here and fish with me. So like I said, them trout been on fire.
Yeah, man, we'll definitely do it. I want to thank, Chasing the Tide and Paddle and Fin for having me on today. It's always good to just sit around and kind of talk fishing with somebody that likes talking fishing. So
I love talking fishing.
Yeah. That's why you got an own podcast. Duh.
I don't know how I got roped into this, man. I was like, you know what? My wife said I could talk the paint off a wall. So I guess that kind of means I could talk about fishing pretty good.
Yeah,
and that's a cool thing that, you got the thing going on KFT. There's a couple other podcasts in Texas. Y'all check them out too, man. I'm not just limited to just me being the only one. No. There's another one called the Salty Yak the guys run. There's a new one that just come out called Paddler's Playbook. That's actually put on by ACK, Chris Lewis and Drew Turner. Them guys got a pretty good thing going on too, man. So it's stoked. I'm stoked for the stuff we got coming out of Texas. We got a good thing going. So, man, thanks again for coming on tonight, yo. Good times like always. Thanks for everybody for listening. Y'all don't forget to subscribe to the channel, on the your favorite podcast platform, and throw some likes up there, so we have a chance to get this podcast out to more people. We're stoked that we get listeners as far away as Australia, Hawaii, Alaska. we hit a milestone a couple weeks back. We had 100,000 plays with all our episodes, and right now we have an episode 7 days a week. We got a new segment starting to come out, so we got an episode every day of the week. So if you need to catch up on some windshield time while you're driving and need to download something to listen to, tune in. We're there. So thanks again, everybody, tuning in to Paddle and Fin